My name is Emma Carter. I am 32 years old. 3 years ago, my father paid my husband $10,000 to divorce me and marry my sister. Dad looked at me and said, "She needs him more. You two were never the perfect couple anyway." But the hardest part wasn't my father's words. It was my husband accepting the deal. Everyone expected me to fight, to cry, to stop the wedding. Instead, I smiled. I signed the divorce papers, and I even helped plan their wedding. My family thought I had lost everything. But 3 years later, when I walked back into their lives, they went pale, because now I was someone they never expected me to become. Before I tell you what actually happened, please like and subscribe if this story earns it. The day my marriage ended didn't start with shouting or drama. It started with dinner at my parents' house. My father rarely invited me alone anymore, so I thought maybe things were finally getting better between us. My husband Daniel sat beside me at the table, unusually quiet. My sister Lily kept smiling at him, laughing a little too much at everything he said. At first, I ignored it. Families are strange sometimes. But then my father cleared his throat and said he wanted to talk about the future. That was when everything changed. He looked at Daniel instead of me. "I think you deserve more stability," my father said calmly. "You're a capable man." I remember feeling confused. Then he turned to me. "Emma, you've always been different. Sensitive. You never wanted big things." His words felt small but sharp. Before I could respond, he continued, "Lily needs someone reliable beside her. Someone strong." The room went quiet. I laughed nervously, thinking it was a strange joke. It wasn't. My father placed an envelope on the table. Daniel stared at it, but didn't touch it. I already knew something was wrong. "What is this?" I asked. My father answered, without hesitation. $10,000. A fresh start. Divorce Emma and marry Lily. The words didn't feel real. For a second, I honestly thought I had misunderstood him. I looked at my husband, waiting for him to laugh, to stand up, to defend me. He didn't. He just stared at the envelope. That silence hurt more than anything my father said. "Dad," I whispered, "this isn't funny." He sighed like I was being dramatic. "Emma, be realistic. You and Daniel were never the perfect couple anyway. Lily has bigger plans. She needs a partner who fits her life." Then he looked directly at me and said the sentence that stayed in my mind for years. "She needs him more." I turned toward Daniel. "Tell him no," I said quietly. All he had to do was shake his head. All he had to do was choose me. Instead, he said, "I didn't ask for this." But he didn't refuse. And in that moment, I understood everything. Love shouldn't require hesitation. If someone truly loves you, there is no pause, no thinking, no price. The conversation ended shortly after. Nobody shouted. Nobody apologized. It felt strangely polite, like they were discussing business instead of destroying my marriage. That night, Daniel followed me home in silence. I waited until we were alone before asking the question I was afraid of. "Are you actually considering this?" He sat down slowly. "I don't know," he admitted. "Your father promised opportunities to connections security." Security. The word echoed in my chest. "So, I'm in security?" I asked. He didn't answer. And that was answer enough. A few days later, he told me he accepted the offer. Just like that. No fight. No explanation that made sense. He said it would be better for everyone. I expected myself to scream or cry. But strangely, I felt calm. Not happy. Not strong. Just clear. I realized something important. I wasn't losing my husband. I was discovering who he truly was. The divorce papers came quickly. My father's lawyers handled everything efficiently, like they had planned it long before telling me. When I signed the documents, my sister hugged me tightly. "Thank you for understanding," she whispered. Understanding. That word almost made me laugh. Instead, I smiled.
And I signed.
What shocked everyone wasn't the divorce. It was what I did next. I stayed involved. I helped choose wedding flowers. I attended dress fittings. I even reassured relatives that I was happy for them. People called me strong. Some called me pathetic behind my back. But none of them understood the truth. I wasn't pretending because I was weak. I was watching, listening, learning. The wedding day arrived faster than I expected. Standing there, helping Lily adjust her veil before she walked down the aisle toward my former husband, I felt something unexpected. Not jealousy, not anger, relief. Because deep down, I knew something they didn't. They thought they had taken everything from me. But that day was actually the beginning of my freedom. And 3 years later, they would finally understand why I smiled that day. The morning after the wedding, I packed one suitcase and left the city.
No dramatic goodbye.
No message to my family. No tears at the airport. For the first time in my life, I wasn't trying to prove anything to anyone. I just wanted peace. At first, the silence felt strange. For years, my life had been filled with expectations, my father's opinions, my sister's comparisons, my husband's needs. Suddenly, there was no one telling me who I should be. It was terrifying and freeing. I rented a small apartment in a new town where nobody knew my last name or my family. I found a simple job at a marketing office. Nothing impressive. Nothing connected to my father's world. Just work that belonged to me. The first few months were the hardest. Not because I missed Daniel, but because I kept asking myself one question. Why wasn't I enough? Every quiet evening brought memories back. Family dinners where Lily received praise while I received advice, conversations where my father corrected me before I even finished speaking, moments when I tried harder just to feel seen. For years, I thought love meant earning approval. Now I was learning something new. Real peace begins when you stop begging to be chosen. Slowly, my life changed. I started taking evening classes I had once postponed during my marriage. I met new people who didn't know my past. People who laughed with me without comparing me to anyone else. For the first time, I felt light. One rainy afternoon, about 8 months after I moved, I met someone who would quietly change everything. His name was Michael. He wasn't flashy or overly confident like Daniel had been. He didn't try to impress me. He simply treated me with kindness from the beginning. We met at a small cafe, where I worked on weekends. He noticed I always ordered tea instead of coffee. "Coffee makes you anxious, doesn't it?" he asked one day. I laughed, surprised. Daniel had never noticed small things like that. Michael did. Our conversations were easy. No pressure.
No expectations.
He never asked about my past right away, and I appreciated that. When I finally told him about my divorce months later, he didn't offer judgment or pity. He just said, "That must have hurt a lot." And somehow, those simple words meant more than any grand speech. He didn't try to fix me. He just respected me. Time passed quietly. I focused on building myself again, emotionally, professionally, personally. I learned to make decisions without fear of criticism. I traveled alone for the first time. I laughed more. I slept peacefully. Meanwhile, news from home occasionally reached me through distant relatives and social media. My sister and Daniel looked perfect online. Luxury dinners, smiling photos, family celebrations. My father proudly posted about their success. People assumed I must regret everything. But every time I saw those pictures, I felt something unexpected. Not jealousy, relief. Because I knew how that world truly worked. Love there always came with conditions. About 2 years after I left, Michael asked me to marry him. There was no grand public proposal. Just a quiet evening walk by the river. He held my hand and said, "I don't need you to be perfect. I just want to build a life with you." There was no hesitation in his voice.
No calculation.
No price attached to his love. And that was when I realized how different real love feels. I said yes. We married in a small ceremony surrounded by friends who genuinely cared about us.
No luxury venue.
No family pressure. Just happiness. For the first time, I wasn't trying to fit into someone else's expectations. I was simply living. 3 years passed faster than I imagined. Then one afternoon, I received a message from my mother.
Short.
Formal,
Cold.
Your brother is getting married. The family expects you to attend. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but another part of me felt ready. Not for confrontation. Not for revenge. Just closure. So I agreed to go back. Not as the woman who had been replaced, but as the woman who had finally found herself. And none of them were prepared for who would walk through those doors. The wedding venue was exactly the kind my father loved. Grand, expensive, and designed to impress people more than comfort them. Crystal lights hung from the ceiling. Soft music filled the air. Guests in elegant clothes laughed and greeted one another. For a moment, standing outside the entrance, old memories tried to return. The girl who once walked into rooms hoping for approval. The daughter trying to be enough. I took a slow breath. That girl wasn't coming back. Michael squeezed my hand gently beside me. Ready? He asked. I smiled. Yes. We walked inside together. The reaction was immediate. Conversation slowed. Heads turned. Whispers started moving across the room like a wave. My mother noticed me first. Her smile froze halfway. Then my father turned. And for the first time in my life, he looked surprised. Not disappointed. Not critical. Just shocked. I could almost see the question in his eyes. How did she change this much? I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I wasn't dressed louder than others or acting differently. The difference was simple. I looked happy. Truly happy. And that confused them. My sister Lily approached slowly, her expression tight. Emma, you came, she said. I was invited, I answered calmly. Her eyes moved toward Michael. And this is? My husband, I said gently. The word hung in the air. Across the room, Daniel had just noticed me. He froze completely. For a second, the noise of the wedding faded, and it was just the two of us standing there, past and present facing each other. He walked closer, almost uncertain. You look different, he said. I smiled politely. I feel different. His eyes lingered on Michael, then back at me. There was something there I had never seen before. Regret. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just quiet realization. Lily noticed it too. Her smile faded slightly. How have you been? Daniel asked. Happy, I replied honestly. And that single word seemed heavier than any accusation I could have made. Because I wasn't angry. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I had simply moved on. During dinner, I watched my family carefully. The perfect image they once built around themselves had small cracks now. My father looked older. Lily and Daniel barely spoke to each other unless people were watching. Their laughter felt rehearsed. Their happiness forced. At one point, my father approached me privately. I didn't expect you to come, he admitted. I didn't expect many things either, I said calmly. He hesitated before speaking again. You seem well. It sounded almost like an apology, though he couldn't fully say it. I am, I answered. He nodded slowly, as if trying to understand something he had never considered before. For years, he believed success could be arranged. Love could be negotiated. People could be replaced. But standing in front of him was proof that he had been wrong. Later that evening, Daniel approached me once more near the garden outside. I made a mistake, he said quietly. I looked at him without anger. Maybe years ago those words would have shattered me. Now they felt distant. You made a choice, I replied gently. He lowered his head. I thought security mattered more. I smiled softly. And I learned peace matters more. There was nothing left to argue about. No revenge to deliver. No victory speech. Just truth. When Michael joined me, placing his arm around my shoulders naturally, Daniel stepped back. In that moment, I saw understanding finally reach him. He hadn't lost me at the wedding. He lost me the day he agreed to put a price on love. As the night ended, my sister watched me leave. Not with anger, but with something heavier. Realization. They had taken my husband, but I had gained my freedom. Walking toward the exit with Michael beside me, I felt lighter than ever. I didn't return to show them what they lost. I returned to prove something to myself. The girl they thought was weak was simply waiting to find the life meant for her. Because sometimes the greatest revenge isn't winning, it's healing. And living a life so peaceful that the people who hurt you finally understand you were never the one who lost.